Hello my darlings, today I thought we'd do Lucifer's Hammer by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle. It was written in 1977 and this copy is from 1990, and you can see why I chose it for the absolutely stunning artwork which wraps right around the book. And there's your ISBN number in case you'd like a copy. Well, this book is referred to as the Prepper's Handbook in a form of a meteorite hitting Earth. It goes very much thread to the needle with all what you must do in order to survive the impact of Lucifer's hammer. This was also the blueprint for Deep Impact, the movie. Yeah, that film would not exist without this. And they did try to turn this into a film, and Deep Impact is the result. But had they actually turned this into a film, it would have been titanic. It would have been epic. I'm still waiting for somebody to do it. If you're not too busy, Quentin Tarantino, if you don't mind, would you turn this into your last epic masterpiece? I absolutely adore it. Starts off with an amateur astronomer called Tim Hamner, because he works with another astronomer called Brown, and it's initially known as the Hamner-Brown meteorite, comet, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, Lucifer's hammer is what it ends up being called, because they take the surname of Tim Hamner and turn it into a playful hammer. The first half of the book covers the run-up to the impact from the asteroid. Yeah, we'll call it an asteroid. It's as high as Mount Everest and as wide as Mount Everest. So that's a big mountain. Well, that is what's hurtling through space to whack us. And unfortunately, we're a sitting target. Earth can't suddenly pick up its skirts and run, so it has to sit there and take full force. It's just fantastic. It's just absolutely an amazing book. We start off with all the scientists who work at the Jet Propulsion and NASA, assuring the public that there's not going to be a collision, but it's going to be beautiful. You're going to be able to look into the sky and see this glorious, glorious asteroid skirting past Earth, and it's going to be a phenomenal light show. Has anybody seen Dave the Triffids? Yeah. If you start seeing unusual plant growth and someone's promising you a meteorite extravaganza, don't fall for it. Don't look at it, right? Like, that's another book. That's a John Wyndham book, but you know, similarities are just, ooh. Anyway, we start off with being told it's not going to hit, and then a little bit further into the book we might have a few boulders come off, and then a little bit further into the book maybe certain parts of the Earth are going to get hit, but not all parts. And we get further and further and further until the inevitable happens, and everybody's on the International Space Station, the Russians and the Americans, who have to form a very uneasy alliance in the face of danger, basically, of losing planet Earth. Imagine being sat on a space station watching as this asteroid, yeah, meteorite, is heading towards Earth, the size of Mount Everest, and you're watching as it impacts Earth, and you know your family's down there and you can't be with them in their final moments. How absolutely awful. I'd be torn up inside if I knew my daughters were on Earth and I couldn't be with them in their final minutes. to comfort them, because surely we're all going to die, and I can't be with them to give them that reassurance of everything's going to be okay, even though I know for shit it ain't. But the most beautiful lie of everything's going to be okay is usually from the parents to the child when faced with utter defeat. Yeah, it's called the beautiful lie for a reason. It's what you do in your final moments. You promise that it won't hurt, and then that's it. So that's what these poor astronauts have got to watch Earth do that. And one of the most pivotal scenes, basically China, anticipating that the Soviet Union will become too cold for its people, must therefore, they know that Russia's going to invade China, and China's not too thrilled about this because they've only got certain resources left, and they can't be sharing it with their borderland Russian compadres, or comrades. Yes, we'll call them comrades because that's what they call them. So they launch a preemptive nuclear strike. So they're worrying about the Russians being cold. They're just going to roast their asses off with a bunch of nuclear warheads. I suppose it's a better kindness, really, rather than starving to death, because bugger all's going to grow for the next 5 to 50 years because of all the crap that's going to go up into the atmosphere. Yeah, we're going to end up going into a very sudden, very abrupt ice age, thanks to the fact that all the crap that caused from the asteroid hitting the Earth is going to blow up past the sun. It's going to block the sun out, so you can forget about solar irradiance coming down onto happy Earth so we can grow our fruit and veg. At this point, if it ain't in a can, you ain't eating. Which brings us back to last night's book about the famine and the adulterated cans. Boy oh boy, I can just bring happiness to you so well. Yeah, honestly, it's a shit show from start to finish. So anyway, China decides to nuke Russia. Russia decides to retaliate after a quick phone call to America to say that we're not firing at you, we're firing at China because they fired on us first, and it ain't fair. Yeah? Brings to the point of thinking, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. As before we've had crumpets and tea. Sick joke, I know. But bear with, we'll go on. We'll do a little bit more. We have a very wise senator called Senator Jellison, who decides quite early on he thinks that the space debris is going to hit. So he decides to make sure that his entire family and those that he deems important enough to continue of the government of the United States of America all have enough provisions. So he sends everything that he can up to a ranch that is, based out in the boonies, so that he's going to be okay. It's in the Sierra foothills, and he calls it the Stronghold for various reasons, and it will become very clear throughout the novel. So yes, our one and only senator, who is now the president of what's left of the United States of America, he now is able to basically make sure the continuation of the government happens. It's just an amazing book. Everything that could go wrong does go wrong, and you must look out for the surfer dude out in Santa Monica. Everybody mentions the surfer dude, and for good reason, because his wipeout is spectacular. So what we have to do is, in the first half of this book, it'll tell you how to prepare. The second half of this book is going to tell you how to survive in a world where you don't have any electricity, you don't have any running water. You've gone back to beyond the Stone Age. You've gone back to the dawn of time. There is an epic battle for the one remaining power station right at the end of the novel, where the cannibals, the boonies, the local village residents of where the stronghold is, a religious nutter, the President of the United States, and what's left of the astronauts all slog it out to make sure that the destruction of the final power station doesn't happen, because it's nuclear. And well, you've heard the horror stories of what will happen to a nuclear power plant if it gets turned off abruptly and there's no water to cool the cooling rods. 3 Mile Island, anybody? Yeah. So you're left wondering whether or not, right at the end, will they save the power plant? Will everybody survive? Will the president continue being the president, or will we end up with somebody completely different? There are so many characters within this book, it's unreal. There must be over 70 different characters, but each one helps the next one to have their, how would you say, their starring role for that page. And honestly, it's absolutely bonkers the amount of characters that are in here. But saying that, it's necessary, because it's just an epic read. It's going to take you a wee while. Well, I know I flashed through it in a week, but that's because I couldn't put it down. But normal speed of normal readers, it might take you a couple of weeks, maybe a month. I have actually put an audio version of this on my playlist for February, and for those that don't have time to pick up a book, maybe if you really would like to hear, it's just fabulous. Absolutely, it's in the top 100 books that you should read before you die, definitely. And I'm absolutely positively sure you would find time to listen to an audiobook if you didn't have time to read the book. It's just fantastic. Give it a try. You won't regret it. Thank you very much, my darlings. And on that note, I will wish you what I always do. Happy readings, darlings, and enjoy. And if you like what I do, you can give me a thumbs up. And if you really like what I do, you could always subscribe if you like, and see what else might be coming out, like this one that arrived in the post today. Yeah, I know, absolutely gorgeous, isn't she? John Lanchester. I've never read this book before, but I saw it for 15p and I thought, well, I'll take a punt, I'll see what it's about, and I'll report back. So that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it, my darlings? Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to me waffle on about books again. But that's my next project. This is just something, a go-to book for me that I'll reread and reread. It's honestly, it's a prepper's handbook to survival. The information in here is phenomenal, and it's a cracking read. It's a good old yarn, and also if you really like these type of books, you'll love Deep Impact, which is what was based on this book. Amazing, absolutely amazing. Anyway, my darlings, happy readings and enjoy. Sorry about